What's up, Vertical Nation? Welcome back to Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. Today we are getting into a little recap of Week 1 and a preview of Week 2 for the UFL. We had a fantastic first slate of games, some highlights, a 64-yard field goal to talk about, and punters throwing touchdowns to centers. There were definitely exciting moments this weekend, so we'll get into all of those, and then we'll preview the excitement of this coming up weekend. Before we do any of that, make sure to visit totempolenation.com to get some gear and support the boys. Shout out to Sideline Sports Network. Our socials are scrolling below if you wanted to drop a follow or message us about what to talk about next. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the UFL right now.
Before we get into the Week 2 of the preview, we're going to reiterate on Week 1.
Your mic is messed up. Your mic is messed up.
You hear me now?
No, it's so bad. Holy moly. All right. Lambo got some new equipment this weekend for his birthday, so he's going to get that figured out. I don't know why that was happening. It was fine when we were in the studio beforehand.
Work.
Yeah, you're good now. I was just explaining. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Livens, you are right. He was sounding like a robot for a second. When we're done with this, go back and watch it back. You'll see. I was just explaining that it was your birthday over the weekend. You got some new equipment, and I'm sure that was just a little mix up.
I still got
yeah, you're good. So to start the recap of last week, the Showboats took down the Roughnecks. They're playing at the Rice Stadium, which I think is in Houston. That's interesting that they're playing at Rice. Memphis got a shout out from Snoop. That's really the most exciting thing from that game. But the next one was the San Antonio Brahmas versus the DC Defenders. San Antonio won. Destroying is on that game or on that team if you know him from YouTube. And then the highlight of it was former LSU punter, was in the NFL for a little bit. Brad Wing threw a 40-yard touchdown on a fake, or I guess it was a field goal formation that they then shifted into that where he's just behind the center, hit the center after a weird. It was, so you could probably explain this better, but the formation they were in, they had these linemen then motion out to like be trips receivers on the right. But the two of those receivers were ineligible because they started to play on the line, if I'm correct. So that's how the center was able to be eligible because he motioned in or something like that. It was very odd. Very odd. But
so
they hit him.
So normally if you have two people on the line, then yes, that's correct. So you basically explained that right. So if you have two people on the line ineligible. So you explained it correctly. Yes, you did.
All right, yeah. So he center got his first touchdown of his career, I'm sure, and Brad Wing making plays. He's been a highlight punter since he was at LSU. So that's pretty cool. Moving on from there, the Michigan Panthers took down the Battlehawks, who are led by A.J. McCarron, with a 64-yard field goal with 3 seconds to go. That was insane. Lemons, I'm with you. I agree. Great moments in Week 1. And then the last game, which was actually the first game of the weekend, the Stallions versus Renegades, the two champions from the two respective leagues that have combined. Matt Corral was actually the starting quarterback. I don't know how we didn't mention him in the preview. We were talking about Adrian Martinez and the other dude that's on there. So Matt Corral went out. He got benched at some point, but came back in, threw a deep touchdown to Deion Kane. He threw 201 yards on 12 for 21. So, I mean, nice to see him back on a football field after what he was dealing with. The Stallions, who were the better team, we both predicted for them to win and cover. They did both.
All right. So I don't have too much to iterate on that Week 1. You basically explained everything. It was Week 1, so it's the first couple games. Not really a lot to mention. We saw a lot of mistakes. We saw some low-scoring games, but especially when you're talking about the Birmingham Stallions, the last 3 seasons they started, they averaged 4 touchdowns. So I wasn't surprised that they were able to score 28 points. They still got a great system despite the loss of quarterbacks, their running backs. They're still good. I think of the week, the game of the week, I think is the Birmingham Stallions and the Michigan Panthers Sunday, April 7th at 12 o'clock. I think that's the game of the week. Before we iterate on the other games, this is going to be tough maybe for the Birmingham Stallions. I know their offense is multiplied. They can do whatever they want. They can throw the ball. They can run it. I've underestimated their quarterback. Matt Cabral used to play for the Patriots, the Panthers, and he was great at Ole Miss, but this is a different league. Like he mentioned, he struggled, and then he stepped up. The way the Birmingham Stallions win is stay ahead, time of possession, staying ahead on the scoreboard, and not turning the ball over. Michigan Panthers are going to give them a run for their money. I think they're going to give them a run for their money. Their defense, they're going to give them a run for their money. So go ahead and give me the upset. Give me the Michigan Panthers.
So I wasn't like completely on the other side of that with you, but when we look at just offenses, the Stallions are far and away, obviously we're one game in, so we haven't seen everybody to their full potential, but the Stallions are 130 yards better than the second place team. They had 409 yards of total offense week 1. The Panthers were second with 280. And then on the way down, it's just they barely got the most points over the Brahmas, but 409 yards, they left some stuff out on the field, and their defense only allowed 14. So I hear you. I don't know if this is the week that I'm going to go upset on the reigning champs, though.
Okay. First game, Saturday, April 6th. This is WrestleMania weekend, so that is a lot of content. March Madness, UFL, and WWE WrestleMania all in the same weekend. So San Antonio Brahmas versus the Memphis Showboats. Woo! Man, Destroying is my guy. I love him. I'm not. This is a tough pick. Like I said, these teams hadn't played to their full potential, so it makes the prediction a little bit harder. And it's kind of like the same thing. There's 10 games in the season. It's kind of like the NFL where you have 17 games, but you don't know which team's going to be good until mid-October, November, when the teams start forming together. And I think the same thing on the UFL with 10 games. We won't know who's going to be good to about 4-5 games in. I'm going to go with the Memphis Showboats to beat the Brahmas.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Showboats produced 3 turnovers in week 1, and I just hyped up the play. But also, if one of the main reasons you won was because you scored on a trick play, that's awesome for that week. But now every other team in the league knows about that play and is preparing for that play as well. So it's not really a nuanced thing anymore. People have tape on it. They can prepare. And if that's like one of the main reasons you won, I don't know if that's sustainable to the next week, especially going against a defense that already dominated their week 1 performance.
Saturday, 8 o'clock, Arlington Renegades versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. I understand the quarterback situation with the Battlehawks, but looking at this as of week 1, okay, I'm not hyping it up. As of week 1, the Renegades have the number 1 defense just through 1 week, but I want some defense involved. I want, a close game that we had last week at 18-16.
What are they number 1 in defense for?
So go to stats and then go to team, to go to stats and then go by team.
Yeah. That's their total tackles. They're not the top defense. They just had the most tackles. They allowed the most yards of the weekend. They allowed 409 yards.
Everybody did.
No, they did.
Most teams did. I'm sorry. Most teams
No,
did.
they did. Tyler, it's on the same thing. Yards per game for offense, 409 is the top for the Stallions, and they played the Renegades. The next most.
Oh, see, yeah, my bad. It was the wrong one. Wrong. My bad. It was the wrong one. Okay. Give me the Battlehawks to beat the Renegades.
I think I'm with you, but I don't know. Like that offense can put some work in. So I'm going to go with the Renegades. I wanted to be with you, but AJ, like we give him credit because he has been in the NFL in and out multiple times and like what he did 12 years ago in college or whatever, but he didn't really look like anything special out there. And that's one of the biggest reasons I'd be going with them because of that experience at quarterback. And I don't really know if that experience is all of the advantage that it used to be. With him specifically.
Last game, Houston Roughnecks versus the DC Defenders. Let me just throw it up there. Give me the Houston Roughnecks to beat the DC Defenders.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think DC starts 0-2. I think the Roughnecks get up to 500 because I'm pretty sure they just lost to the Showboats. So I think they get up to 500. They played. Now, here's the thing, though. So that Memphis team that I was just talking about having the most takeaways in week 1, is that a credit to their defense or does the offense of the Roughnecks just suck? That's the issue with it just being 1 week. That's what I'm like basing this pick off of. And I'm just assuming that the defense is good, but we could, watch this game and the Roughnecks just can't do anything on offense and they start out 0-2 and DC gets to 500. But I'm with you. I'm trusting that Showboats defense is really what showed its head this past weekend and not a bad offense.
All right. Well, that is it for week 2 of the preview. Obviously, there's a lot of sports going on with that WWE, WrestleMania, and March Madness. So I'll
NBA playoffs are about to start.
And the playoffs are about to start the week after next week. So I'll be zooming in back and forth. But we want to thank you, Total Pole Nation, for 120K subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe, and get this beautiful merch because it is on sale. Thank you, Silent Sport, for the platform. Y'all have a great night. Please take care.